Okay, folks, good afternoon. Trying to power through and get these Hunnick foot bowmen complete. 2.5 more to go. Or so. Something like that. I just can't seem to wake up today. All right. Doing some faces of these guys right here. Making faces. And a little later, when we get some more people in here, we'll pull out some other World War II stuff and we can talk about that. Stuff I hadn't looked at in about 20 years. A lot of it is already mounted on pennies. This is may need to use one that's in better shape than this one. Let's take a look at these brushes. I guess I probably should start putting these in piles of ones that I can use for really fine detail. Well, I actually had them all like that. And when I pick up and clean this area, I just lumped them all together. That's one of them. All right, let's grab more of this sunny skin tone and we'll add that to it. I looked for those Camelot Miniatures a few weeks ago, and they're apparently nowhere to be found. They were a small company that was out of Italy, and they happened to have some pictures of some foot Hun bowmen, and they've disappeared. I saw them online. Well, shit, it was probably a decade ago. One of the DBA players from Italy, looks like painted a lot of their stuff. I don't know whether they were his lines or what have you, but they were decent looking figures. I think these guys will do just fine. Yeah, a little bit more white. We should be good to go. Okay, and this guy, we got a guy that has a similar colored shirt, and he has a light helmet. So I think this guy, we're going to do like a grayish type. Well, it's not a helmet, it's just a little cap, like a little felt cap. So let's get us a gray. I know I could probably make one with the black and the white. Just get a little gray. I mean, one that has maybe just a tiny little bit of blue in it, maybe. This dark sea blue is probably just fine. Something with a tiny little bit of color. I think this should work just fine. This is one of these colors I haven't used a whole lot. Not really painting naval ships. And this would be a color that would be well suited to that. It's actually a pretty color. All right, this is a fine detail one. Let's leave that one alone. Let's go back to this one here. It's kind of creating a little burr there on the end. See if we can trim that off. Should do it. This little hat that he has reminds me of those ice cream shops they used to have in the, well, when I was a kid. We had one in town, for instance, it was called Doug's Dairy Twirl. And it was like a standalone restaurant. Not really a restaurant, but like you're at the window and that's it. And they've got like, burgers and twisty treats, like soft serve ice cream. And that's what's in the shape of it. It's like a little cottage that is the shape of like an ice cream cone that's swirled, and that's what kind of like what this looks like. He's wearing a acorn on his head or something like that. Wearing a twisty treat on his hat. I'm sure it's made of felt or something, so. Reminded me of that. I'm really not sure what the purpose of having headgear like this. Maybe it keeps the top of his head warm. I don't know. I think it's got to be really cold for a hat to make a difference. Especially one that just sits on the top of his head. I think a hat is actually more useful to keep that radiation off your head and off your... What's floating around back here? A receipt from Hobby Lobby. Oh. We're not going back to that thing that we already used. I don't know what the hell it was, but... I wish places would ask you for a receipt before they just printed one out and wasted it. And how many receipts get wasted and never have to be needed? And it might be a slow afternoon after all. Maybe a little bit more white, and then we should be done with his happy hat. All right. Man, where is everybody? Beige brown. So I do want to sort some. I got a whole bag of World War II figures over here. Oh, did we lose connection? Oh, I think we got a jam session here. Let's see if we can fix that here in a second. It hasn't happened in a while, actually. I'll fix that in a moment. Okay, let's disconnect from there. Let's reconnect, see if that fixes it. It's actually good for this to happen once in a while, so I remember how to fix it. Let's see if this fixes it. No. I should have done it. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I've got this bag of World War II stuff. I'd like to go through it, sort it, like we did the Soviets the other night. See if we get around to doing that. All right, beige brown. Go get some water. All right, back with water. I've been sluggish now for 2 days. Getting to the point where I'm like almost immune to caffeine. All right, let's put the little, this guy's got a nice little slightly blue hat. Happy little dude. Happy to put arrows in your ass, that's for sure. It's all fun and games until they take a liking to stuff that you have on your homestead, and they come looking for it. Come raid you. We'll finish this guy and then we'll do some look at those World War II figures. That'll leave me 2 guys left to do. World War II figures I haven't looked at in about 20 years. Ever since I started getting into this DBA stuff. Okay, we still have some of that bronze from this morning. I guess we don't. That's the problem with the fan going how it is it helps the paints dry even faster. So they don't stay alive here very long. Okay. Let's see, what lighter color can we use here? It should still be alive over here. It's over here in the corner. And the boots. Man, I just can't shake this like stupor I'm in. Two viewers, welcome, welcome. Over here. I guess sitting these guys on their side works okay. Be able to identify which one's which. For these paints, that's standard what I do on all the Vallejos and the army painters, but decided to try to give it a go here. 3 viewers. Welcome. We'll get there. We'll get to the World War II stuff. Now you guys are being silent, waiting for the World War II shit. I don't know. Okay, there's that. What you do is happy little hair. Black again. A lot of black-haired dudes in this army. Nothing but black-haired dudes in this army. I think we're good with that. I'm going to take a look at where we're at with these 4 figures. 2 more to go. Make sure I don't knock my water down. These are all the same figure, unfortunately. I think it'll work just fine. You guys want to see some, pull out some more World War II stuff? We talk about that? You've always been a fan of the horse nomad armies. Welcome, Jeffrey. You are the exception. Most people don't give these guys a second look. Maybe in another rule set, but in DBA, I don't think they're handled very well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a look at something because I pulled out these rule sets recently. This morning, as a matter of fact, I think we were looking at the Scots figures and stuff like that. I'm going to pull both of these out. And that's Armati and Advanced Armati. I have not played Advanced Armati at all, and I played Armati just once. A guy ran a demo. I had the rules probably since the late 90s. But I have a problem with trying to figure out how to play rules by them myself. It's not really worth it. Maybe if Mitch was with me the whole time, but just sitting out and figuring out how to do it myself, I'd rather do something else. So let's take a look at the, the interesting thing about these rules is there's power armies, so to speak, in these rules, and there's power armies in DBA, and they aren't necessarily the same ones. For instance, the Mongols in here are really powerful, and they are not that in DBA at all, because I think that light horse are just treated in a different manner in DBA that I'm not sure is very very interesting. But let's see, where's the Hunnic army in here? Seljuk Turks. And do they have any foot? That's interesting. I'll be interested to see if they do have any foot. Hun, here we go. They can have 2 heavy divisions and 6 light divisions. Breakpoint 6. Initiative 8. Yeah, that's a high initiative. 10. Okay, 10 light horse type units and 5 heavy cavalry. 10 light cavalry and 5 heavy cavalry. That's it, no foot. Wow. They even have less foot than normal than in DBA. Wow. The heavy cavalry's lances. So they can't shoot at a distance. Yeah, it's interesting how people have different things that they, and advanced just allows you more choices, I think. What's the Hun list look like in here? These rules, if I remember correctly, do not have pips. You can pretty much do whatever the hell you want, but you have to group your units into divisions that are either light or heavy, and that's kind of what you're stuck with. They all have to move together. Okay, here you have to have 4 light cavalry and 2 heavy cavalry, and they can have skirmish infantry with javelins, and they can have foot that's warband, 2 units of warband, but that's it. They can't have any bows. Oh, well, these are white Huns, so I would be surprised if they were included in here. Tony on TV and painting Bowman. Yeah, I'm about to stop. We're going to pull some World War II stuff out. I need to wake the F up. I have been sluggish all weekend. I've got 2 Bowmen left to do, though. I've got 4 of them done. These 4 are complete. Got 2 more left to do, but I need a little bit of a break. Maybe I need to do a lot more talking to kind of wake my ass up. We'll see if that works. And take a little 20-minute break doing something different here. That's why I wrote the description as Hun Bow and World War II, whatever the hell I called it. So we did the Soviets the other day. We're going to do the U.S. this time. And I think we're going to, let's do a above view of this. And we're going to see what we have here. And I've got extra Ziploc bags so I can and this should be, almost all of these should be battlefield miniatures and combat miniatures. There's no Marines. This is all ETO, European Theater of Operations stuff. Got everybody? That's everybody. All right, let's see what the hell we got on here. I got a fair number of these guys painted. I got probably 25 figures painted. Of course, we're doing skirmish stuff, so that's quite a bit. And, all right, let's see what we got here. We've got, this is a Battlefield Miniatures guy from, there was some guys that were basically, like they were landed in Normandy. And including with that, they had some weapons that are like in those bags where they don't get wet. And this happens to be one of them. So this guy's probably got something like a Garand there. But that's all it is. So they came with, you know, this is probably not a very useful figure because I'm not going to be ever simulating a skirmish game of people landing on a landing craft, from the landing crafts. That's kind of, you know, sucky. So this is not a very useful figure. What do we got here? Oh, this poor bastard. Yeah, that's what happens when you just throw him in here. This is a guy with a BAR. It's a combat miniatures guy. I forget who makes combat miniatures, but this thing's about to break off. So these are some of the figures made by, this is what got me into skirmishing into this scale, is these figures by Dave Alsa. And he has a very distinct style of sculpting. And one thing I really like about these figures is if they're either junior officers or anything like that, they've got their ranks on their shoulders already molded on the figure. So, yeah, there's a crack in here. I don't know if this didn't always have this to begin with, but it doesn't help that the thing is molded Yeah. Oh, well, there's other people that make BARs now. We're going to put him over in the Combat Miniatures thing. Who else we got here? We got... this is a Bazooka Gunner from Battlefield Miniatures. And it's actually kind of strange the way he's holding it. It's almost like he's holding it too far back, but maybe it just seems odd to me, the way that's on there. I'm sure we're going to find his little helper around here, putting a rocket in there, tapping him on the head. Those guys are out of production as far as I'm concerned. Here is this guy's a Battlefield guy, and I particularly like these World War II guys that have the little netting on their helmet. They look pretty cool. And this guy is a 30 cal gunner. He's got a sidearm, so he's probably the actual gunner himself with his 1911 sidearm there. And he's got a 30 cal machine gun by Battlefield Miniatures. Nice little sculpt. Let me pull some of these guys out here. I painted these recently, but my idea of recently means they were painted 20 years ago. Last time I delved into the painting World War II stuff. Where are some of these guys who like the Camelot? Okay, here's a guy with a BAR. This is pull a couple of these guys. Both of these guys are Battlefield Miniatures. And I used to, these were so long ago, I used to seal my figures with 2 coats of semi-gloss. I don't know why, I thought it was better. But these are actually the first miniatures I ever sealed. Because when I was doing ships and stuff, I didn't seal my stuff. This is a Private Davis, you can tell because he's got Davis written on there. And he's a BAR gunner. And then here's Martin. It's just got a Garand. But they're nice looking figures. Let's see if we can do better than that. Kind of blurry, but nice sculpts. But one of these days, I'm actually going to say, you know what? Let's see what it looks like putting the goop on here and some tufts and bringing these guys up to 21st century standards of basing. And, you know, and take the... All I got to do is just brush on some flat coat on there, and they'd be good to go. That's all you got to do. And, you know, obviously redo the basing a little bit. Let's minimize that. Okay. Let's continue. All right, who we got here? We got some kind of an officer here. He's got a #1 carbine. You have so many World War II for flames of war that I need to work on. Maybe someday. Germans, Soviets, Hungarians. It's a company that made those Hungarians. Is it? There's a company that made like Romanians and stuff like that, and North something. I want to say they're North something or another. Yeah. Yeah, he's got a #1 carbine. You can tell these guys are from the landing guys because they've got, look at this, well, he's got a 1911 there as well. He's got baggy pants with these pouches on there. Yeah. He's definitely an LT or higher. This is a guy that looks like I stripped him at some point. This is a Combat Miniatures guy. He looks like he's been stripped. The paint off of him. And it looks like he's got some lead rot on him. Maybe, but it's a really cool figure. You see he's got his mouth open and everything. You have a bolt action British Army to paint. I have a German one done, but those 25s, 20s are so they be big for Tony. Yeah, I couldn't play bolt action. I've seen people play it, and that's like, that'd be like you playing General Quarters. Me playing bolt action is like you playing General Quarters, Joe. Wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Here is a... I'm not sure if he's an officer or whatever, but he's got a Tommy Thompson from Battlefield Miniatures. One day I guess I got bored and put all these guys on pennies. This is a guy, let's see, he's got his hand out. He's Battlefield guy. He's got a Grand. He could be any number of people. He's got one of those waterproof type bags there for the landing. Omaha Landing Force or whatever. I think that's what they were called. Here's a guy with a Grand. And not much else. He's got a water bottle, canteen, another Battlefield guy. This guy's carrying a mortar, base plate and all. Must be 60 millimeter mortar. This guy's carrying also a guy from Battlefield. Most of them are going to be from Battlefield that I have in here. Battlefield and Combat Miniatures. I think there's probably some exceptions to that, but just about all of them are those two different things. So I'm going to sort them. I'm going to put all the Battlefield guys in one little Ziploc and put all the other guys somewhere else. This is an interesting set of figures. We've got a medic treating a wounded guy. I don't know where the hell I would use this for. Maybe a mission where you got to go bring these two guys back. This guy's a Combat Miniatures. With the Grand, with the bayonet on it. They're definitely, maybe they always look that rough. I don't know. Who knows what the story is behind those. They might have been cast a really long time ago, before I ever got them. This is another landing guy. He's got a Garand. What's this guy? This is the guy that runs around with the other guy with a 30 cal. Because it looks like he's got the tripod for the 30. Yep, here's the little front piece. Here's the two legs. He's got ammo all around him. Yeah, he'd be running around with these two guys. This guy. Something like that. North Star. I think it's North Star. Got some Hungarians from Battlefront. You got the assault guns Zerny with some infantry support. Hungarians. I think the Hungarian troops were better than the Romanians, weren't they? Better fighters. Here's a guy with a mortar round. Entrenchment tool. That's it. Judging by the round, it looks like it's an 81. Also Battlefield. This guy's got ammo box. This guy's kind of unusual that he's got the little straps for the helmet just dangling from his face. Also a Battlefield guy. Who's here? We got a Battlefield guy here with the Garand. Got an officer here. He's got his 1911 out. This guy is from Combat Miniatures. One thing about the Combat Miniatures is they actually have the patch on here for the big red one. You could tell it's a little shield here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 3D. You know, it's molded on the figure there. He got his 1911 out. LT or a captain or something. Major Payne. Here's another guy with, not only has netting, he's got grass on his netting. All right, what do we got here? We got another Zook guy carrying his Zook. A lot of games handle bazookas really weird. They're pretty much useless against infantry unless they're like in some kind of hard cover. I need something hard to detonate against. What else we got here? Another guy with a Grand. A lot of guys with a Grand. They had a lot of guys with Tommy guns too. They must be somewhere else. Another Garand guy. He's got like flotation type stuff on him, front and back. Who's here? See, this is kind of a shitty figure. But he does have a grease gun, which is unusual. I don't think I got very many guys with grease guns. But he's got a small, misshapen helmet. Helmet almost looks like something from like the 60s that some kind of like ground crew for works on jets would wear. Just something really strange. An older figure. These guys with the netting are some of the newer figures. And I mean newer, I mean they were like around 2000 when they came out. These guys are definitely from the 90s. All right, what else we got here? Romanians could kick the butt of any World War I army. Unfortunately, we're facing World War II armies. The book Third Axis Fourth Ally gives good info about the Romanians. This guy is a figure company called Platoon 20, and they have very diminutive feet. They have very, very small feet. And other than that, they're okay. I can tell that this guy's pitting from lead rot or something. Yeah. Platoon 20 guy. Here's a Combat Miniatures guy that has a bazooka. I see the bazookas are significantly different here. This a lot longer bazooka than this one. Here we have a Combat Miniatures guy with a Garand with a rifle grenade attachment. And there it is. Here's the guy from Camelot Miniatures that rides with the loader. Don't stand behind it or you're going to get a facial. Has he got any weapons? Yep. He's got a 1-1 carbine. Does this guy have any weapons? Probably a pistol. Yep. Here's his holster for his 1911. Yep. We got a Camelot Miniatures. Now we got, I'm sorry, a Battlefield guy, and he's got some kind of a cap on. That's kind of unusual. Is it the helmet liner? Maybe. Unusual guy. All right, let me get a beverage. I'll be right back. I really want to paint some World War II buildings. I got a few of them to do. And I've got one that I finished painting and I can't find where the hell it is. I tucked this stuff away like I was never going to play it again. All right. This guy, he's got a map case, I think. I think that's what this is. Map case, he's got an M1 carbine. I don't know that he's an officer. He might just be somebody who's a support guy. And that's what the M1 carbine really was for guys that they wanted to give them a little bit more firepower, a little bit more protection than a 1911. And I would much rather have, you know it is a smaller round, I would much rather have a 30 caliber round with a semi-automatic, carbine with 15 round magazines than 7 round 1911. So it gives them a little bit more distance, fighting at a distance. So M1 carbine doesn't kick hardly at all, and you almost don't need ear protection. Almost. It's not a very loud round at all. Oh, that guy's a Battlefield guy, by the way. Here we have some guy that looks like some guy that looks like he's got some radio or something on his back. This guy's from Camelot Miniatures. He has an M1 carbine as well. And, yeah, nice sculpt. That's what... Oh, we got frozen. All right, let's unfreeze this. That's the second time it's happened today. All right. How do we unfreeze this? Let's disconnect from this. Let's reconnect. And that didn't do it, right? So we've got to relaunch this. Okay. That was quicker than I expected. The more it happens, the better I'm going to get at dealing with the problem. So this Combat Miniatures guy looks like some kind of radio man or something like that. Maybe he's got a bunch of mess kits on there. I don't really know. It's probably a radio man. 30 cal on his back. What else we got? Guy, another landing guy with stuff on his back. Those packets are all like really dark gray or almost like a rubber type neoprene kind of. I don't know if they're really neoprene. I don't think so, but they can handle being in the water, and they're like a black color. So another M1 Garand guy. A lot of guys in the U.S. Army with M1 Garands. This guy's another guy with M1 Garand. This guy's got his rifle in one of those water bags. And it looks like he's carrying some kind of ammo. Battlefield Miniatures. Another Battlefield Miniatures guy. More flotation stuff. Flotation, water resistant. Here's an officer of some kind of another. Because he's looking at a map or... Yep. He only has a 1911 to his name. Battlefield Miniatures. Another Battlefield Miniatures guy. This guy looks like he's got the helmet liner on. And hey, finally a guy with a Tommy gun. This guy's got an M1 Carbine. Also a Battlefield Miniatures guy. Basically, when I got these guys, I'm like, oh, let's just buy one bag of every single figure that's being made. Buy them. And they're like 4 figure packs. Almost all of them. I think they're like 4. I don't think any of them are more than that. 4, 6 maybe. Got another guy with a Garand. Nordic, there you are. You're in the middle of our World War II session. These are the Americanas. Battlefield Miniatures guy. Just trying to mix it up a little bit. I'm like really sluggish all weekend. I still got 2 more Bowmen to paint. Who's this? Another guy with an M1 Carbine. Battlefield Miniatures guy. Would have been on earlier, but once again down with bad sinus headache. Man, don't come to Florida. We got lots of pollen and whatnot. So this guy looks like he just baited off the beach because he's still got his rifle there in the protective plastic bag. And he's handing somebody something. Not sure what it is. A sandwich, honestly, is what it looks like. What else we got here? Another guy with looks like a helmet liner or something like that. M1 Garand. Battlefield Miniatures. Another guy primered black. Who's he got? He's got an M1 carbine. No, he's some kind of an officer because he's got a 1911 and M1 carbine. Some kind of an ossifer. No paratroopers. I don't have a fetish for paratroopers. None of them. I don't like paratroopers. You know why? Because generally they're not going to have vehicle options. I wanted guys that could, call in a Sherman tank. That's the only reason why. Here's a Combat Miniatures guy. Nice pose. M1 Garand with bayonets fixed. And you didn't see these guys earlier, but I got a couple guys painted. Well, I have more than that. I've got like 30 Americans painted. And I don't know if you can make it out. They still look good. They just need... Oh, here's the little rubber bag I was telling you about. See this little black thing? That's the little rubber bag that they had getting off the landing craft. I don't know specifically what would be in that one. But... yeah, this guy happens to be a BAR gunner. Davis and Martin. Needed to redo the bases on these guys. Make them, look modern. And take the shine. Taking the shine off them pretty easy. Just come in and dry brush that stuff. I'll leave them here. Maybe I'll do that tonight. Keep saying I'm going to do it, never do it. What do we got here? We got another guy with a BAR. Only one per squad normally. Battlefield Miniatures. Another Battlefield Miniatures guy with a Tommy gun. What else we got here? Another Battlefield Miniatures guy. This guy's got some kind of radio equipment, looks like. And he has an M1 carbine. What am I planning to do with World War II stuff? Well, I could say eventually paint him, but I haven't painted him in 20 years. Skirmish. Always skirmish. Individual guys, individually based. Individually named. I got 50 or 60 of them painted. Here's a figure that's kind of shitty. This guy is a Platoon 20 figure. The guys with the little feet. What's he got? Carbine, M1 carbine. He's in his own category. Where are we putting those shitty guys? There's one of them. There's another one of them floating around here somewhere. I'm just sorting them right now. See who I got. I want to do something a little bit different. Some other odds and ends figures here. This is a Bazooka Gunner. It almost looks like there's some lead rot on him. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like he's got some pitting on his legs and stuff. A little bit. So, when I was doing it, 15mm wasn't a thing. So if you wanted any vehicles, they need to be basically 1/72 scale. The guy's got a, I guess it's a grease gun, but man, it is really primitive looking. Here's another guy just kind of hanging out. Another Platoon 20 guy. Those guys aren't very good. Got a guy laying down with a BAR. Prone. Battlefield Miniatures guy. What else we got in here? We got a bag that's unopened. At some point, this is who I used to get them from in the U.S. George Guerriero with, he was the North American distributor, and the name of his company was Minuteman Toy Soldiers. He's in Massachusetts somewhere. And what are these guys? US 6? I want to say these are figures I already have. Yeah, I have them. I have them already. They're in here somewhere. Well, that's why I didn't open them. There's a Facebook group for the Battlefield Miniatures, so I may take pictures of some of these guys and post them. They might get a kick out of it. I don't know. Maybe not. This bag is full of these retards. These Platoon 20 retards. And they just look weird. These guys used to be carried by Platoon 20, I think. I forget who the hell had them. And they're not very inspiring. Can I put one of your vehicles up against a couple of the troops? I'd like to see how the vehicles look with the troops. All right. How about a modern vehicle? I got a little Jeep here. It's going to be Russian, just so you know. You've been warned. BA6 armored car. I painted these last year, so they look modern. They have modern basing. Look, there's even some happy grass here. And they're actually magnetized. So they're ready for modern battle. And Litco makes penny-sized magnets. These guys don't have them. Just stick them on the bottom and you can magnetize everything and they won't get destroyed when you go from point A to point B. That's them. I want to do some Shermans. Because I'm not a fan of Shermans. I think they're ugly. But that doesn't mean I won't do them. I mean, it's not like these vehicles are beautiful. These are ugly ass vehicles too. Scale looks a lot better than 28 with the large vehicles for that scale. I don't know. I'm not a fan of 28 mil. You guys know that. These are some old resin models by a company called BP Cast that I got probably over 20 years ago. And they were very, very rough. They had resin pitting and they were all this color. Look at that yellow color. That's what they were. And they smelled of mothballs. But you can see they've got little bubbles. I could have filled them in. I just decided it wasn't worth it. They're still going to look kind of chipped. They're Russian vehicles. That's how they come out of the factory, looking like shit. So, you're lucky it has wheels. So, anyhow, yeah, cute. The wheels are just flat on one side. Look at the side of them. They don't even have axles or anything. They're very basic vehicles. They work fine. Didn't have a machine gun. I added a little piece of sprue. I added a little machine gun there for the rider in there. It's I think a 4-man vehicle. Driver, machine gunner here. Got to have a loader and a guy that's a gunner. You know. You're a fan of 28 mil if all you want to do is collect and spend a lot of time painting a couple miniatures. Those miniatures 20 mil, but what scale of the vehicles? 1/72nd. Yeah. 1/72nd, 1/76. The 72nd stuff I think looks a little bit better because there's scale creep and everything. These guys, let's see if I can show you an example. Well, here you go. Here's a Platoon 20 figure, and here's a guy that's, you know, they're significantly bigger, one than the other. So, people are of different sizes. It's not that these figures suck because they're smaller. They're just uninspiring. You know, here's a guy with a 50. This is, I think they come. There's a 50 cal in here somewhere. Yeah, look at big old nasty, big nasty. Yep. Here's the gunner that goes with a 50 cal. But he's just really uninspiring. They're just kind of boring looking. Here's another one. Where's the mount for that one? Did I lose it? Shit, I've had these so long. Here's a 50. Here's a 30. The same figure for both. Guy with ammo. Here's a guy with a... This is like a weapons platoon or something like that. A couple guys with rockets. Hey, look, it's the rockets. Zook guy. Another guy is standing around here. Of course, I got a mortar thing here too. Oh, here's how. This is how I used to paint stuff. You ready for this? This is. I didn't think I had some old stuff. This is how I used to paint stuff like around. This would have been in the 80s. Look at this shit. Just one color. Not even the right green. I didn't care I was a kid. Hey, I primed them. They're not primed. They're just lather up the paint on there. Guy's actually got a trench coat on. Almost like something for like Battle of the Bulls or something like that. Yeah. Uninspiring figures suck. I don't know what kind of make-believe weapon this guy's supposed to have. He's got something that looks like an M1 carbine, but then the magazine's out the side. Here's a guy who'll never be painted. Flamethrower. Anyhow, so all these suckers, we're going to put these in the sucker bag. Yeah, the thing about a 50 cal is you can hurt people that are inside a house. Like, oh, we're gonna hide over here and we're gonna hide in the house and protect it. Yeah, a 50 cal will go right into the house. That's what it's for. It's not rate of fire. It's just like you got to get into some hard cover to be protected by it. What else do we have in here? Or start somewhere. That's right. This guy's an ammo bearer from Battlefield Miniatures. This guy's another Combat Miniatures. This guy's sleeves rolled up and everything. With the bayonet on the Garand. 50 cal saw that house in two. Yep. If you got enough ammo, it will. We're hiding in the house. What house? These guys are a couple of figures from... Gosh, I don't know who the hell they're from. They might be the War Games Foundry figures. A couple of tankers. Really nice figures. I'm trying to figure out by the face. I think they're War Games Foundry. These guys were like in super high demand in the early 2000s. They weren't being manufactured. Now I think they're back in production. These guys went for outrageous prices on eBay. I don't know how the hell I got them, but yep, Here's some more of them. I guess I should put them all in the same bag. Full tankers. Guy you can have poking out of the tank. Cute little figures. Ah, yes, the guys with little goggles. Hello. Yep. Guy standing outside the turret. Guy who means business, like the commander. This guy's just laying back. Yeah, should put all these guys in the same bag. Nice figures. That is something I can't recall ever seeing 15 mils. Dismounted tank crew. I don't think any company makes them. Really? And that's really necessary. Because if they survive the tank, you need them. I guess you could use tokens, but... There's actually a skirmish scenario in one of the books that I have. It's a Kursk scenario. And the scenario starts with... The Germans have very few things. Well, one of the things that they have is a Tiger tank crew. So in the middle of the battlefield, there's a knocked out Tiger. And you have a tank crew of, it may not be all 5 guys, you may have 4 or something like that. But they're bailed out. And the Germans have to get them off their side of the board, and the Russians have to stop them. Kind of a unique scenario, forces you to use that kind of stuff. And then I have these guys separately bagged, and they say Rangers on them. So this must be Battlefield. I don't know how I would have known at the time they were Rangers. I gotta be careful I don't mix them in because I can't tell the difference between the two. Rangers, we got a rifleman here. Another rifleman. Is that exactly the same pose? Similar, if it isn't the same. Guy with a Thompson. I'm actually surprised how few Americans I have with Thompsons. I may have a few painted, that's what it is. This guy's calling in an airstrike. Hopefully he's good with directions. Officer's got a 1911 out. Guy's passing ammo. Ooh, a bareheaded guy. Oh, okay. Look, they've got the little Ranger logo on the sleeve. You see that diamond? He's got a Ranger logo on him. That's cool. Oh, he's a cool looking guy. I gotta make sure I put these guys back in the same box. What weapons this guy got? Oh, he's got an M1 carbine. Oh, he's loaded down with all kinds of shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's like a squad, like a Ranger squad. Cool. That's my Americans. That's my Americans that I have. So, we're gonna put these Ranger guys in here. We're going to get a plastic bag that is, well, this is the plastic bag they're in. So I've got, put my glasses on so I can find myself. Need a sandwich. I brought some sandwich bags here. Here we go. All these battlefield guys will be all in here. Do a good scenario about Rangers holding crossroads right near Pointe de Hoc. I don't remember. I honestly don't. I don't know about stuff that close to the beaches for scenarios. I actually have one book of scenarios that's them getting right off the beaches, but that's a lot of very specific looking terrain I would have to make. I don't really want to box myself in that way. A lot of it, that's what it is. Knocked down by the wind. Okay, and these guys are combat miniatures. Put them together. There's one particular scenario that I did, and I built all the forces for it. It was out of skirmish campaigns, and it's called Purple Heart Hill. And I actually made the terrain. It's two 2x2 boards, 2 foot by 2 foot boards. And I ran it in the convention, and it was not a hit because I spent too much time explaining the effing rules to everybody, and we didn't have enough time to play a significant amount of the game. So I think I learned my lesson from that. I am not going to be running a World War II skirmish at a campaign with everybody being on both sides. It is just too difficult. You're not going to get anything accomplished. All right, let's put those guys apart, away. Who the hell is this? Soviets? Yeah. Or as I like to call them, the commie bastards. Who the hell's over here? Partisans are around here somewhere. So if I painted any more, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably do the French resistance guys. I've got, I don't know, 30 or so guys. And that's perfect. People can play them. They have a mixture of weapons. Makes it interesting. Even some female characters. One girl's got like a pistol and a Panzerfaust. The Alpha and the Omega, all in one character. Got a lot of guys with like Sten guns and stuff like that. So they have a high percentage of firepower compared to, you know, German guards and shit like that. And I actually have the only vehicle, the only thing that I recall right this moment that was not painted by myself. I actually purchased something painted by someone else. And it is, if I can find it here, it's pretty cool. That's why I got it, because it was pretty cool. And it was something that here it is. And it is a French taxi. There was a Matchbox car with some other stuff modified on it. And I thought it was really cool. And this is something that the partisans can ride into battle on. Or at least some of them could. What? 2 in the back, 1 up here, 1 guy driving. And this was painted by Tom Panetta. He was one of the vendors that was at our Huracan shows. I think the last Huracan we did was in 2006 when it was in Tampa. I don't think he ever went to an Orlando one. So I saw this and I'm like, I don't know what I paid for it. I'm going to say 20 bucks or something. Whatever I paid for it. I've never used it because I don't do skirmish anymore. Or I didn't anymore. So we'll see if we can change that. But yeah, cute little thing. And yeah, nice. So here's some 20mm vehicles, and most of these are not painted. They already came in this format, and got some ships in there. This is one of those pre-made. Hell, I forget what the hell they're called. It came like this. This is one of the. I got this specifically so I could use it for that build-out tank scenario. That one I described, the Tigers don't fight at all, so it could be a knocked out whatever the hell you want. So this would work out as a knocked out thing. These guys were at Kursk. This is one of the Elephant units. I'm sorry, the Ferdinand units. They did not have a hull machine gun. So, perfect. Just have to put some explosions and it's knocked out. It even has the bottom of us detailed. Dragon armor. Yeah, came pre-painted like that. Here's another die cast. This, I believe, is a Matchbox This would be an well, it's a long 76. This would be like an M4 A3 76. I don't think it's an A. I think it's an A3. So. Panzer 4H, also from Matchbox. I took the, they come with screws and stuff. I took them all out because I was going to take it apart and paint it. You see how far I got. So, what else we got here? This is actually a vehicle I did build. This is a Hasegawa kit. The Panzer 4 ambush scheme. Not Panzer 4, Panther. Jeez, drink. What the hell's wrong with me? You can see this is how the basing was being done back then. Woodland Scenics bullshit. What else we got in here? This is a kit that came with a Sherman with a mine roller. So, I think I'm going to fill in the gaps. Repaint this. I like the name of it. Battling Bitch. So, well, that's the biggest reason to have Sherman is I can name them all. And put them right on there. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use it with a mine roller. Not exactly useful for a scenario. This came just like this. So, put some putty, fill it in. Had that for 20 years, ain't done jack shit with it. Here is a company that is prolific in doing World War II stuff at the time, a company called Britannia. And this is a mixed resin, like the tracks are metal and stuff like that. And this is hand painted with Humbrol. I wanted the Humbrol bronze green. This is a Sherman Firefly. And see, it has a 50 cal machine gun here that's bent because even with being in a box, it still gets beat up some. But this is actually one I painted and took me a long, excruciatingly long ass time to paint it. Same thing with this Martyr. This Martyr 3, I think is what it is. It's got the Russian 76mm gun redone. This is by, I want to say, not MMS. MMS are the guys that made the white metal kits. This isn't white metal. This is all. I forget who the hell it is. I've been out of this for a while. And this is a gun crewman that I have for. So he kind of rides up here for from Battlefield or whatever from the Germans. I got a shitload of Germans and a shitload of Brits, and they're back in the bottom of a box. So we're not going to pull them out tonight. And then this is I want to say this is a Matchbox or somebody kit for a Fujimi, something like that. 251 half track. I painted that just dry brushing it. This thing's got potential, but you can see it's been thrown in a box. The headlights are broke off. Not a big deal. I mean, I'm certainly, there's a lot of, oh, here's the other guy that goes with it. I'm certainly, there's a lot of half tracks that have those things. There's a crewman figure that goes to the Martyr. So, anyhow, new French car with an Arnhem SS units because they were Commandeers tough. Yep. Nice stuff. Really want to build a vignette of a Martyr or a Nashorn with full crew in battle. Yep. Better get some camouflage netting for them, because both of them are meat. Nashorn is just totally badass. That weapon is incredible. That long 88, the King Tiger 88, the L43, right? L71, sorry. 88 L71. The 56 caliber one is the one in the Tiger 1. 71 caliber is the Nashorn and the King Tiger and the Jagdpanther. That's an incredible. That take anything out. But you know what? So can this. So can the 17 pounder. It's in the Firefly. It basically is. it's as good as the Panther gun, if not a tiny little bit better. I think it's better than the Panther gun a little bit against tanks, but the Panther's HE round's a little bit better. Apples and oranges, you know, whatever. But anyhow, this is some of my stuff that we had here. All right, I wanted to show you the French Taxi. We'll leave the French Taxi away out. I'm going to put him in the case because, like I said, if I'm going to paint some 20s again, other than refurbished figures that I already have, which I would be refurbishing my Germans. I got plenty of them. I don't need to paint any of them. I just refresh the stands. Refurbish is a wrong word. Refresh the stands and give them some dull coat, and they're good to go. So. All right, let's put these guys away. I got a little French house. It's actually 15, it was marketed as 15mm scale. I painted it and used it as 20s because it's big enough. I actually use it as a little barn. I don't know where the hell it is. It must be in the bottom of the box somewhere. It's not getting kicked around. It's not like it's getting damaged or anything. But all right, I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. There we go. Anyways, whatever I was saying again, I'm just trying anything to stay awake. I have been like freaking sluggish as shit for like 2 days. Anyways, what I meant to say was, yeah, pack 43. That's probably what I meant to say with the 43. But yeah, it was, and those calibers, that's all from Command Decision, you know. 71 caliber 88 millimeter gun, yeah. And they made them in 2 different flavors. They made them with the cruciform base, which I think looks really weird because remember, this is the 88 millimeter gun. That's not the one that Rommel had at Halfaya Pass, or the one that's famous for the desert, which is the taller one, which is a good looking weapon in my opinion. The shorter one, the Pack 43, when it had a cruciform base, just looks silly. I don't like the way it looks. But they did put them on like the howitzer carriages, almost like a 105 howitzer or 150. I'm not sure which one it was. It might have been its own carriage, but the same one with the split tail. Great looking weapon there. You know, you can use it for stuff like Operation Goodwood when the British are trying to break out and stuff, and they ran into some of those. But an awesome penetrating weapon. But yeah, I don't care for the barn door, as it was nicknamed. I don't care for it on the cruciform because it looks weird because it's really low. So you had no idea what I was saying. You want to know who had the brilliant idea of turning the 88s down to aim at vehicles instead of at aircraft? Well, when you encounter Matildas and nothing can penetrate them, you try doing other shit, you know? I don't know why they would make an AP round for it. If you're shooting at aircraft, something like an 88 doesn't knock down aircraft by hitting it directly. I don't think. It would be timed fuse. So, I mean, even the Mark IVs with the, you're talking about doing France, even the Mark IVs with the short 75 basically was an HE weapon. They had some AP rounds, but not that many. It wasn't a very effective AP round, but they had some hollow charge ones. And that's what you could use to take out the French tanks. So the French tanks in 1940 are basically, you can't destroy them. I mean, the Germans can't destroy them with their guns. I mean, I don't think they had any 50 millimeter guns in France mounted on tanks. They were all 37s. The best penetrating weapon that the Germans had in France was the 47. It was a Czech 47 millimeter gun that they mounted on a Panzerjäger 1. And that was the one that was penetrating more than anything else. So they just had to well, let's see what these 88s will do, you know? Must have had it in mind to make the 88s able to both anti-aircraft and armor. Yeah. The only downside I could see to it was that it was just difficult to move, and of course it has no armor, so you got to be somewhere far away and well hidden, or they're going to take retribution on your ass. And it takes a big crew to fire it. I mean, I don't think that needs to have a big crew. Got like an eight-man crew or something like that. One of the first things we had when we were doing stuff in 1/72nd scale is you bought the Hasegawa kit that came with the 88 on the trunnions and stuff. I think it's a good looking weapon. I know, stuff that's not important on the battlefield, but hey, as a modeler, you want things that look cool, you know? All right, let's see if we can knock out these two bowmen. And like, you know, in Russia, how do you take out a freaking KV? Stukas. That's how you take out a KV, Stukas. Or, you know, an 88, but even if they had AP ammo, how much AP ammo would they have had? You know, you got to make those shots count. But the Russians also had an 85 millimeter gun. The 85 millimeter gun that eventually got put in the T-34-85s, I believe, was an AA weapon as well. And it's a badass weapon too. You know, you can take out tigers and shit with it. 88 was capable of penetrating armor at ranges about 2 kilometers. That's a nice range. Yep, you just got to hit it. You got to make sure whatever it is not moving. And like I said, you got to make sure you don't give your position away, because otherwise it'd be like, aha, he's over there. Go rape him. You could take him out with big ditches. Yep. Okay, this is the guy that I accidentally painted his pants ahead of time, which the nice thing is now I don't have to do it. He's got dark colored pants. The other dark colored pants guy has this one. So let's give this guy like a yellow-like shirt. Let's use one of my new colors here. Hobgrot hide. Okay, Harry Potter. I played a double. One of the coolest games I ever played was a double-blind advanced squad leader game. So you got 2 sets of boards. One guy's running it. I'm playing the Germans. I played the Germans in that one. Another friend of mine's playing the French, and somebody else is running it. So you end up doing stuff. You know, in that game, your opponent couldn't see anything that was going on until they spotted it on their board, and it was basically a village. I forget exactly what it was, but it was basically a village that I had to take over, and there was a couple of Sharbies that were defending the village, and I may have had a Stug or something like that, an early Stug 3B, which, you know, has a short 75 and limited amount of hollow charge rounds. Basically can't touch the Sharpie other than that. So I remember one of the things I ended up doing in it is I had some trucks, and I think it was a couple of French tanks that were in the village, and there was some ammo trucks. So I commandeered one of the ammo trucks with one of my half squads. And I drove it and I parked it next to the Sharpie, and the Sharpie, like, it caught fire or something like that. Like a fire started in the village. So I parked the truck next to it. It spread onto the ammo truck and blew the Sharpie to bits. One of them. The other one may not have been able to get taken out, but I remember that. Movie moment. And it wasn't really likely for it to happen, but it happened. And that was the memorable thing that I remember from that. But that was a cool concept for a game, because you could go you'd go and you'd do stuff that wasn't necessarily part of the storyline or what was important, wasn't part of the mission, and did it anyway. So you'd like take half a squad up a hill just to spot people, you know, to see getting some information of where maybe some things were happening. Did I enjoy ASL? I would never play it now. Blasphemy, using Games Workshop paints. All these World War II guys were painted with Games Workshop paints. The rifle color that I used was the wood brown. Almost all of my Germans and stuff. It's a great color. It's a color that's very similar to this. I forget which one it was. It's burned out now. Games Workshop paints were great, and then they sucked ass. And now they're okay again. But that intermittent period was just horrendous. I was not a fan of them. There's a couple of Games Workshop paints. I don't have any of them now. They all died. I used them like literally one time, dead. I had like copper and tin bits and something like that. I used them one time. No good anymore. Well, that's not a good value. Where is the black that's alive? Yeah. Man, when I was using them, the other paints didn't have cool flip-top bottles like this. There was no eyedroppers at the time. in the mid-90s. Nobody had eye-dropping bottles. And I painted a lot of them with these type of flip-top lid type paints. And they were the same composition as Coat the Arms, which are my favorites, so. You utterly hate their paint pots. Well, I don't hate these. The in-between ones that had the hard plastic lids, they were worthless. There were several colors I used one time, and then the next time I went to pull them out, they had already dried out. You're convinced they designed the pots to dry up real fast to force you to buy more. That's one reason I dropped them for Vallejo solely. I love the longevity of the dropper bottles. I basically said that in a forum. I was a member of a forum. It's been a long time. I'll go ahead and tell you. I was on a Facebook forum, and the forum was called Brush Lickers United. And I'm like, I got to join this, because a buddy of mine, when he painted, you licking your brush all the time. Great name. And I was kind of a lurker. And it was some Games Workshop thing, and I basically said what you just told me. And I got freaking tackled verbally by people. Oh, you're just Game Workshop bashing. I'm not bashing Game Workshop. If you come up with a shitty product, I'm going to call you out on it. You know? You got, you know, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue with these people. I left the forums. Fuck them. I don't even know if the forum's still around. But you come up with a shitty product, I'm going to call you out on it. Especially when you were making a great product before. I still have some of the original Games Workshop paints. They're awesome. You know? And I don't necessarily have a problem with Games Workshop. I have a problem with it, you know, if they have like the bad business practice of like discontinuing their shit. I paint really slow, right? If I'm playing a Games Workshop game and I'm like, all right, I need to build 4 armies, and they discontinue the game before I finish the last 4 army, that doesn't really work for me, you know? There's a lot of things they do right. I think that there's other magazines that are to the level now, but back when I was doing it, the White Dwarf stuff was awesome. I mean, the photos and the painters they have are just incredible. But that business practice of discontinuing shit that, you know, that's not around anymore. Yeah, you could continue playing it, but you're not going to get players in there that are back into it, you know? Games Workshop fangirls, really bad. There's plenty not to like about Games Workshop, and their paint pots are right up there. Well, I'm okay with these. But these are modern ones. You know, and the old ones, of course, are great. Actually, these lids are better than the old lids. I think their old paint is better, but these are okay. I bought 6 of them the other day. I just wanted to... They've got vivid. Now, I did have to figure out what the hell the difference was between a base, a layer, and all this. I'm like, oh, layers are basically just watered down. I'm like, well, I'm going to thin anything I want, so what's the point in getting paints that are pre-thinned? I don't want a yellow that's pre-thinned. But I don't argue with people on the internet. I go on a group and I say, you know, something that's not controversial. You know, I'm not posting like, you guys are all assholes. I'm posting like my opinion that's like, you know, and if the first time you post something like that, you're not wanted there, I'm like, well, screw it. Life's too short. I don't argue with people. So I got no problem just blocking folks. I got a decent list of blocked folks on Facebook. It's like 30 or 50 people. And most of them, except like 2, are people that I didn't even personally interact with. Like, I got one guy he kind of shoots himself in the foot all the time, but he's got a couple of guys. One guy, I swear, is a devout communist. I just blocked him. I blocked him so there's no way I could see his response to any of this guy's posts, because he's gonna make me like hire a hitman to go take him out. I mean, this guy's really, really bad. I'm like, nope. I don't know if the guy's still around, if he's harassing my friend or died of cancer. I do not know what's going on with him, and it's better that way. Because I don't argue with people, because it's not like they're going to wake up one day and go, you know what, that guy was right. Devout. He's probably was worse than a devout communist. You're still angry that Games Workshop killed Warhammer Fantasy and took out my two favorite factions in the Tomb Kings and Bretonnia. They completely removed those lines and didn't put them in Age of Sigmar, which is not a better game. I'd be pissed too. And then the problem you have, well, you can continue playing Warhammer Fantasy, but you know, a lot of people are just going to be like, well, I want to get into it, and there's no way to get the rules, and you know, I'd be pissed too. I don't like the idea of you make rules and you make miniatures. I don't like it. I'm old school. Command Decision didn't do that. You know, all the rule sets that we used to play didn't do that. Sea Creek doesn't do that. They make rules. They don't give a shit what figures you use. You know. Face of Battle Skirmish. They don't make miniatures. You know. They didn't make a new edition of the rules every frickin' year to get you to buy more of them. I think the one that did the most versions of any game that I ever had any inclination to play is Command Decision, and I only got the first one and the second one. After that, we were kind of done with 1 to 5 scale systems. We've seen it all before. But you either make miniatures or you make the rules. Not like, we need to sell more miniatures of this kind. Well, let's redo them all so that it just seems like a conflict of interest. I don't know. But I'm old school, you know? Not only am I old school, I'm proud of being old school. Decided to get into the game, bought a box, and the next week they announced end of the game, and I was so ticked off. I returned the box and gave Games Workshop a pass for many years. Yeah. There was 3 games of theirs I wanted to play, and they were all discontinued before I got into them. I guess I should consider myself lucky, right? Man of War. Because the thing is that they're excellent on marketing. They really are. I mean, they have superb painters. I think they have good products. I mean, I'm not a fan of everything being made out of freaking plastic these days, but they're good products. They have a lot of fluff, you know, to get you, you know, bait you into it. They take great photographs, and have great painters really showcase their products. But they're like, you know, oh well, this isn't doing what we want to do it in 2 years, so we'll just discontinue it completely. I don't know. I just don't. Not a fan of that. And you know damn well that places like Warlord are going to do that same shit. All these people that bought into that naval game that has all the ships and the weird scale on a flip-flop, right? Because they play with their own miniatures, whatever it is, 1800, whatever the heck it is, and they're mounted on these, I call them, well, I saw somebody call them flip-flops, and I loved it. You know, this base, and specifically for that, you buy into that. Like the people that bought into Axis and Allies miniatures, right? Remember that? That was big like 10 years ago? All that stuff's discontinued. Now what do? You know? The only problem I have with their painters, they promote a style of painting that isn't achievable by the majority of the people who paint and collect their miniatures. And that's an understatement. It doesn't bother me because I can get to that level if I did 25s. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. But it's even worse. Most people that play their games don't even paint their stuff. You know? But I know, it can be off-putting. I get it. It is extreme. Those guys, those people are extremely talented. They're a very, very, very small group of people that they did not hone those skills overnight. You know, even if I'm like, okay, I want to paint to that level, I'd have to like go to England and go to one of their classes to go like, oh, okay, I got to use a glaze, and then I do this other thing. You know, there are lots of different. Like, I think my painting method is really, really simple, but it takes a while. But I'm sure their stuff takes a while too. But it can be really off-putting. I get that. But go to a 40K game, nobody's stuff is painted like that. You know. I think the best way you can sell miniatures, though, if you sell miniatures, is just give them a little kind of a black wash so the details pop out, and just leave it at that. And then you can see exactly what the miniatures go, and you know, you can decide how you're able to make them look with your skill set or with the colors you have, or you know, because there's some miniatures out there that I think they'd be a better off not showing them painted. They don't really do them service. Warlord Games is a company I won't buy from anymore. I've seen a lot of painters trying to paint like that, and they fail, and then they quit the hobby. Yeah, one time I tried to play 40K at a store, maybe 3 people painted their armies. And their armies are expensive. Yeah, I could definitely see it off-putting and just be like, screw this, I'm going to go play video games kind of stuff, you know? At least now you can go on YouTube and there's a lot of tutorials. You may not want to do them, but there's a lot of tutorials that tell you what kind of magic stuff they're doing, you know? What it takes to get your miniatures to get somewhat in that level. And you might decide, it's not worth it to spend 6 hours on a figure or worse. But at least you have the option of that. When I started painting, I didn't have that. You just kind of have to dissect, all right, how did they get those colors? So I started doing this layering shit. The layering shit. Yeah, the worst thing you can do in this hobby is get demoralized. You know, like you said, just quit. Like, you know, F it, I can't do it to that level. You know, I'm gonna go do something else. And see how the painters make miniatures. Watch a fair number of painting videos on YouTube for that reason. Yeah. And there's some people out there that paint better than the stuff you see in Games Workshop stuff. I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just saying there's some brilliant people out there. Just like there's musicians. There's people that do music on YouTube that are better than stuff that's on the radio. And I say the radio because, is radio even a thing? I don't know. You know what I mean. There's a lot of talent out there. All right, we're going to leave this guy like this. But, you know, I'm sure there's some people that don't want to give any secrets away. I don't want to give any secrets on how to learn a game. That way I can use them on those people and I'll beat them every time. There's people like that. I know a few of them. I don't game with them, but there's people like that. And the people that do like model tanks, yeah, they're freaking wizards. Wizards. Only 3 viewers? Man. Slow day. Oh well. You do what you can. Win at all cost players. Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with win at all cost players. I have a problem with people that have a bad attitude when they lose and a bad attitude when they win. Like, gaming doesn't pay enough to deal with people with bad attitudes. I don't want to hear it. There's a lot of dust on here. You can tell because they're like almost like blue. What the hell's got blue dust? Why is it? Get the liner on the couch? That's gray. Oh, you go darker than that. Yeah, my shoulders are hurting a little bit. I may need to stop a little bit. I'm just uncomfortable. How many Bowman did I manage to get painted so far? 4. This is the 5th one. If I get hired on Wednesday, I'll be joining your morning sessions again. You working nights or something like that? Hopefully you have a job with some flexibility. You need to have more jobs with flexibility. My job is not flexible at all. Things go sideways even when I go to lunch. Job starts at 7:30 a.m., so I want to be up most days a little after 6 a.m. Well, what I found out, what makes the most sense for me is to always wake up at the same time every day, regardless of whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. It'd be nice to get these 2 guys painted today. And we can spray them. I want to see what foot looks like on this basing schematic. Basing, colors, schematic. This one has the ability to be hybrid with work from home days as well. That's good. That way when you're not feeling so hot, you could just work from home. People that can do that are so lucky. I don't know if they even know. I'm like, I'm bored with it. Dude, you can do whatever you want. You can, you don't need to work naked, but you can be working in shorts or, whatever the hell you want. You know, it's huge. I'm so jealous of that. Your game to stay with you and keep interacting and get the other two done. Okay, good. You know what? I'm going to take some Tylenol. Take some Tylenol. I'm going to get something to drink. Of course, I mean non-alcoholic. That's a good way to not get anything done. Uh-oh, I'm down to my last 2 pills. I'll refill with my portable medicine cabinet and I'll be right back. sorry, we got some groceries that got delivered that I needed to help put away, so. Okay, what did I miss? 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 Good afternoon. Been listening for a bit. Just hard to type right now. My 2-year-old not feeling well and just wants to be held. Been there. Stupid allergies. Daughter been feeling bad all weekend. Ragweed. Springtime always gets me bad. When you say allergic to dust, I mean it's severely allergic to dust. Most of the bloomin' world. Yeah. Though this part in Florida supposedly is really bad for allergies. You take like Allegra or something like that to help with that? There he is, Lurkin' Rick. Grocery haul for your household. Let me describe the stuff that I buy on a daily basis. Not daily. Yes, I go to the grocery store every day. No, on a weekly basis. This, coffee, eggs, yogurts. I go through yogurts like, you ever seen Burn Notice? We go through yogurts like Burn Notice. Spinach, cucumbers, ham. Bought some tomatoes today. I haven't bought tomatoes in a very long time. Went to Aldi's, which is kind of an interesting experience. We're in the neighborhood, so. Apples. What else do I buy on a weekly basis? That's pretty much it. That's the main things. Then occasionally we'll get chicken or something like that if the wife feels like making chicken. We bought salmon this weekend. You know, nothing crazy than that. We don't buy stuff with a ton of preservatives. We really don't buy chips. This is the worst stuff to buy. But somebody's got to drink something. This is you know how people have a drinking problem. This is my drinking problem. And I'll go some periods of time with none of it at all, but it's just nice to have that caffeine intake, that's all. Rarely do I buy red meat. Rarely do I just don't normally eat red meat. Mountains around me trap the damn pollen valley, makes it much worse. Take Zysol, but it doesn't work. I've been taking half the allergist prescribed stronger. Yeah. But for food, basically every day, Monday through Friday, you know, weekends always are exception. Monday through Friday, I have a banana. I have a banana, a yogurt, and these protein graham things or whatever. That's my breakfast, Monday through Friday, really consistent. Lunch is always a huge spinach salad with ham and cucumber, shredded carrots, olive oil. That's consistent Monday through Friday every day. I don't know why. I just don't get tired of. I don't get tired of that. It's simple and you know. And at night, of course, is a mishmash of raid the refrigerator and make a sandwich, or my wife's prepared something, or we go out to dinner or something like that. But Monday through Friday, breakfast and lunch are extremely consistent. Been waiting to try salmon for a while. I have to work on cutting out preservatives, chips as well. They're just too addictive. They're just too addictive. I like to eat. That's a problem, you know. So, and my problem is portion control. It's not necessarily. I'm a lot better about it now than I used to be. It's not necessarily I like to eat unhealthy things. It's a I don't want to eat a little bit of something. I like everything. So, you know, it's just that I can eat healthy stuff. I don't want to eat a little bit of something. I want to eat a lot. Eating is yummy. So I can not eat fries. It's easy to not eat fries. Stuff like that. And I drink a lot of water Monday through Friday at work. So if I don't drink any on the weekends. Now I know people, and I'm not going to mention any names. I know people who drink a lot of alcohol, and they drink no water with it. I don't know how the hell they're alive. I literally do not know how they do not have a headache the size of Oklahoma or Nebraska. There, bring that back to home. Alcohol dehydrates me like crazy. You know, it's like a loaded weapon. Absolutely. If you don't have an air fryer is awesome. And anything you reheat in it is better. Like reheat a pizza, incredible. Yeah, air fryer is pretty awesome. All right, this clown. Oh, no, he's too wet. A wet clown. Search for that on the internet. You could have all kinds of things that come up. You had an air fryer, but it fried itself a couple of months ago. Yeah, it's not good. I have a toaster that won't die. You like the wet clown thing, huh? I think Mitch is scared of clowns. I think he's trying to tell me that. I never found them scary. I just thought they're goofy as shit. .35 in the oven. The worst thing about the oven is how hot it makes a freaking house. Okay, I'm about to have a Rick moment. I lived alone 11 years, and I think the only time I used the oven was back in the early 90s when I saw some article about painting your miniatures and then baking them in the oven to keep them to have the paint stick. Other than that, I don't think I baked a single freaking food item in the oven. Hey Rick, what does air fryer and you have in common that we're both super helpful to have around? Everyone loves us. Not even close. You're both fried. Just what we need, more dad jokes. It's the thing I hate about Facebook. The thing I hate the most about Facebook is you get all these stupid recommendations that it's stuff you're not even interested in. You get these people doing silly dances, these TikToks that aren't through TikTok, because I don't have TikTok. If the Chinese want to spy on me, they need to come here and spy on me. I'm not going to their TikTok thing. You get all these little dances, people telling bad jokes. Pranks that somebody acts like they don't know what's going on and it's all staged shit. I don't want to see none of that stuff. That's the worst thing about Facebook. Not getting in arguments. Getting in arguments is easy to avoid. Somebody said one time, it's like, Facebook needs an unlike button. I said it does. It's cleverly hidden underneath the unfriend button. You know, you put whatever you want on your page, right? People don't have a right to come in and poo-poo every single thing you say on your own page. You don't go and take a dump on somebody's foyer. That's French word for the day there. And they recommend too many things that are funny that aren't funny. Now, there is one guy that's particularly funny. I don't remember what his name is. And he comes up there one time. But if you do a search on YouTube, you know, and he does videos. It's some dude or whatever, some young guy. He's probably 30 or something like that. And he has videos that are named like, if people did everything angry or something like that. And some of that shit is hilarious. There's some hilarious stuff. You feel like Nordic would take 100% take a dump in my foyer. Only if it's runny. They actually had one of those videos that was going viral or whatever. Maybe it was a report or whatever, but some lady that would go and do that. She was some runner or something like that. And she had to go to the bathroom, and she just went to the bathroom. She had to go number 2. And she took a dump at somebody's doorstep, basically. And it wasn't out of hatred, like, I'll show you. It was just like she had to go, and it was some neighborhood or something like that. Some lady running around a neighborhood, and she had to go real bad. I'd stop running. If running made me go to the bathroom like that, I'm like, gotta find a different hobby. Rick, how many days a week do you work from home? Or do you work from home every day? And if I got to work from home, I would kick so much ass working from home that they wouldn't want me to go back in the office. But invariably, that's not how things work, right? People screw around at home, they do whatever they want, they pretend they're working, they're not, and the next thing you know, nobody can go home and work from home. That's just human nature. Somebody's got to screw it up for everybody else. I'd make sure I'd kick so much freaking ass, they wouldn't want to see me in the office again. Yeah, not driving to work. You know how many miles that saves you? About 8,000 miles a year. That's how many miles it saves me. It would save me. 8,000 miles a year. And I don't really work that far. But, 14 or so miles one way, 14 or so miles the other day. There and back, it adds up. Luckily, it's not that long a trip. I think I can make it in about 18 minutes one way, so that's not too bad. And basically traffic free. I mean, yeah, there's traffic, but not, stagnation. So that part's okay. All right, what color hat are we going to put on this clown? Let's give him a really light colored hat. Any of you guys watch games on YouTube of people playing with themselves? Yes, I said it that way on purpose. Solo gaming. Like somebody, playing both sides or something like that. You guys watch any of that stuff, or that's just pretty much boring for you guys to watch? Like if I did this skirmish and I wanted to test out a scenario, freaking filming. I like to film it because, it forces you to continue playing it for a while. It's not like you just leave everybody hanging like, this sucked. 12 minutes in and you just leave everybody hanging. And something really interesting could happen and there's nobody there to share it with you because you're out by yourself, Is it worth watching? Do any of you guys watch solo stuff? I don't like watching people that have low energy. Except one guy, because he has a really relaxing voice. And no, I'm not talking to anybody that's listening right now. Ben, welcome. Watch some people play solo games so I know if I'd enjoy it. I've watched, okay, so you know if you'd enjoy it. Okay. So that's a yes. Watch Storm of Steel doing a few solo games. I just subscribed to his channel recently. I just don't have much time to watch other people do stuff when I'm doing it myself. I find it exhausting sometimes that so many people do so many different things, and it's almost like, man, I just wouldn't be able to keep up with that. I wouldn't be able to keep up with that stuff. Because I've thought about possibly doing that. And not necessarily DVA, because DVA you need another person or whatever. I got people that I can get to play DVA with me. Maybe other stuff, maybe not so much, but... Oh. Turn the sound back on. I had such a hard time today just trying to stay awake. And yesterday, really, too. But yesterday, at least, it was like I didn't get much sleep Friday night. But last night I did. I went to sleep early. Still groggy. A little bit more. Where'd the white go? Man, the white is just dries out like crazy. Well, I got the fan on high in here, moving the air around. Nope, that's matte varnish. I need to hide that thing. Medium glaze, another bastard that I don't need. Where's the white one? Ah, it's over here. I wish I just put things where they're supposed to be. Doesn't help, I can't see where the shit over 2 feet away from me. Okay, bow time. Nearing the completion of this guy. And then we'll have one guy to do. It's good. I said earlier today, I think it was earlier today, it's really disturbing that this army that has foot bows, they shoot 3 base widths away. And the guys that are armed potentially with the same bows, but are light horse, have a distance shooting of no distance. They can't shoot at a distance. Just find that incredibly ironic. An incongruency between those two things. So I'll run these guys in regular events, but we're going to do some historical scenarios that are going to change some of that stuff and hopefully make them play a little bit more accurately, at least within that scenario. And who knows what comes of that? Maybe that's something I can implement in the future for other stuff. But I think light horse are one of the weak points in this rule system. They just don't feel right. They might be okay for play balance, but they don't feel right. You have a phone call. It's important. Be back in a few. Okay, good luck on that phone call. We'll still be here. All right, now we need to find some of this white. And put it over here. Do the highlight on the bow. All right, we got this little case of thingies. I might as well do his hair. It's no surprise what color his hair is going to be. No surprise at all. How many arrows had to be brought forth from the baggage train to the archers as a battle went on and ammunition depleted? Yep. Yeah, I could see that. And probably not something that's included in a lot of rules. The logistic nightmares. Logistical nightmares. You wonder how horse archers did it. Did they all retire back, or did they have young men and women riding them out to the warriors? Well, depends how many arrows you think they actually carried on their person. They could have carried like 50 arrows on them. I don't think that's too big an ask, or on their horse somewhere. I really don't know. One of history's mysteries. Which I'm sure there's a whole slew of them. I was talking to one guy at Historicon that he wanted to know. Yep, it's that time. It's Rumble 30. He wanted to know how exactly the groups of musketeers and arquebusiers would move in amongst like the tercio and stuff like that. He just couldn't wrap his head around it. And it's like, well, you know, they said that they did this, and he's like, yeah, but did anybody see it? Have you tried that? You know, I just think there's just some things we're just never gonna know. He was like adamant, like, I want to know how it's done. I don't know, build a time machine. I want to know stuff like, you know, how effective is a weapon like a BAR or something like that. I mean, it's a potentially a fully automatic rifle, light machine gun, with only 20 rounds in the magazine. That's not a lot of rounds. You're going to be out in no time. Spend most of your time reloading. You know, how did heavy chariots fight? And some people think it's just a platform to shoot from, and you know, horses naturally are gonna try to avoid getting hurt. You know, unless you give them something, I guess they're not gonna just happily like charge into a forest of stuff that's gonna impale them. There's just some things we're just never going to know. You know, if horses don't like the smell of elephants, right? They shouldn't be allowed to move into combat with them. If you have an elephant, you shouldn't be able to charge horses into them if they dislike the smell of them that much. One guy was commenting on my Historicon video that he really liked the walkthrough, and he was commenting how there were no colonial games and how there was no horse and musket, you know. All right, well, maybe there's not a lot of people that are interested in that. I mean, I'm not particularly interested in any of that stuff, but a lot of those things just involve armies that are very similar to each other. They're just dressed in different colors. So that right there doesn't really appeal to me a whole lot, you know. You're sure the soldiers that use the BAR figured out the ammunition issue? The weapon was used in 2 world wars and afterwards. Well, you're not spraying and praying all the time. And hello, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Steve Gross enters the chat. Yeah, I don't know who the hell enters and exits unless you make yourself known. Maybe it's that way on purpose, but if you got somebody that's just lurking the whole time and you're wondering, oh, I wonder why he's not saying anything to me. I don't know you're there. I got no way of knowing. I wish I did. I'd say, what's up, Frank? You know? And then if you didn't want to talk, I get it. You know, you're working on your own hobbies and stuff. Maybe you're driving. I've listened to people's live stuff when I've been driving. And no, I'm not typing things to them while, you know, but it's like a talk show. It's like a talk show with, you know, that kind of interaction. You don't know what I'm going to say next. So. Yeah, I mean, the U.S. had a lot of ammo, but still, it'll run out. I mean, it will run out. So. There's this game I used to play called Close Combat, and they made lots of different ones. They made one for Russia, Normandy, Market Garden, all kinds of different ones. And it's almost like a live squad leader, so to speak. And all your units, you can click on a unit and it'll tell you the guys that are in your squad and what they're armed with. And every time they shoot, their ammo gets decreased. And, you know, you can actually scour for other weapons. You can't tell your guys to do it, but if you move somewhere, you know, they'll switch weapons and shit. Their weapons can jam and shit like that. So I've had times where it's like, nope, my guys are out of ammo, and they'll move somewhere else, and they'll get into somebody will assault them in close combat. And the next thing you know, they picked up a weapon that they didn't normally have. But it keeps track of the ammo, and you've got to put them on like basically ambush mode all the time, or they can end up shooting at things they shouldn't, which will expose themselves and also run themselves out of ammo before they have any effectiveness. Cool little game's been out for a while. That's one of the things. It's got ammo in there on an individual man basis. When I was working on my own World War II rules, it was going to have ammo also like that. Face of Battle, actually, believe it or not, doesn't handle ammo that way. It's figured into the to hit. So when I was doing it, it was like, you know, you roll to hit and then roll for effect. 2 different rolls. Jeez. All right, let me check the radar and make sure. I absolutely hate lightning. I mean, I detest lightning. And let's see what we have here. If it's going to get too close, we'll sign off. We don't want to be connected to the computer. I'm glad I decided not to go out there and mow. Get caught in the middle of the frickin' mow thing here. Show me the radar picture. Well, it doesn't look too bad. All right, which way is this thing moving? Probably north. Let it ride for a little bit. Oh, where did my thing go? There we go. Have I ever found 15 millimeter Huns that have a lariat as a primary weapon? I remember seeing that some manufacturer made one, but forget who. Some of these Gladiator guys actually have them on the side. But not as a primary. Let's see if I can find one. Here. They've got one down here. No, but not as a... I think you're right. Somebody makes them, but I don't know who the hell it is. What's the range on that? Not that high. Windy. It's a lightning capital, Florida. Freaking hate it. I mean, lightning is something that doesn't need to exist. Nobody says, man, I wish we could get some lightning. There's one in Basic Impetus Rulebook. Let me check if it says who it's from. That's a beautiful rulebook. I have the rules. I've just never played it. What do you think about the rules, Ben? You like them? I like that not every army is the same amount of units. Never seen anybody play it, like in person. The publisher of that rule set sounds like an Italian sitcom. Daddy and Piombo. This week on the Daddy and Piombo. Piombo goes to the park and he buys an ice cream cone and it melts. Sounds like a sitcom. Beautiful rule set. I've thought about playing it with these stands and just have everything. So, because one of their infantry stands is like 4 of DBA stands. So all you got to do is, you have the widths and you have the depth. That basically means you have one stand left. So just play them with stands and just have all the ranges. Just to see how it plays. You like the look of them? I haven't managed to play them yet. You have some of those in your Hun army. Always thought it would be fun to mix and some in army. Test to resolve rules, War of Roses specific. Have rules for archers running out of arrows and becoming light infantry. That happens in Field of Glory on the computer. Well, they run out of ammo and then they still can shoot, but really ineffectively. I guess they could find some arrows. They managed to find some arrows laying around. That a rule set that's made specifically for War of the Roses? Okay, we need boots. Guess we need relatively bright colored, light colored boots. Not bright, light colored boots. Yeah, I have several rule sets that I bought. I didn't pay a lot of money for them. One of them's Basic Impetus. The other one is the Dinosaur Game, Cretaceous. I even made all the counters, cut them out. Haven't played the game. Just have a hard time. Shoot, the pics of 28 mil and they're on the Daddy and Piombo page and they don't even say where they're from. Well, that wasn't helpful. Yeah, we're going to disconnect. I don't want my computer connected to the wall. Okay, folks, Mother Nature strikes again, but